Without thinking, there is conclusion that there is no self other than the body. Then after a little thinking, they also come to a same conclusion which you arrive at without thinking also. That is Laukaikikas. There is no self, the body is the self. And among the Laukaikikas, among the Charvakas, there are various segments. So one group says that the consciousness is only an attribute of the body. So when the body dies, the consciousness also would die. This is one, group. This is the view of one group among the materialists, among the Charvakas. Another group says, no, consciousness is not felt in the body. Consciousness is felt only in the senses. When you see, there is consciousness. In the eyes, there is consciousness. In the ears, in the sense of hearing, tasting, touching, smelling. Therefore, even the consciousness that is felt to be all over the body, in fact, it is all over the sense of touch. Therefore, consciousness is the quality of the five senses. Therefore, when the senses die, consciousness also would die. This is the second group. And the more sophisticated group says, no, mana iti anya. It's not the consciousness is not the quality of the body and the senses, because when there is no mind, even if there are senses, there is no consciousness. So, when a person goes to sleep, or when a person dies, there is no mind. When the mind is gone, there is no consciousness. Therefore, consciousness is the quality of the mind. This is the third group among the Charvakas. This is one. Now we have accounted for two schools. Then comes Mana iti anya. Vijnana matram kshanikam iti eke. Then a stronger school of thought called Buddhis. They say awareness is only temporary. It is momentary awareness. Awareness is not eternal, it is only momentary. Why do you say it is momentary? Because it dies. In sleep it dies. In sleep it dies, in death also it dies. It's all the time changing, being born and changing and dying, being born, changing and dying. It's like a flow, not static. Consciousness. Now, we get an illusion of continuity about consciousness. Sometimes rapid change also brings about a sense of continuity. Some examples they give. Like a fan, if it is moving very fast, then the blades of the fan, even though they are moving very fast, it creates a sense of continuity and also stationariness. That stationary creates an illusion of stationariness. Similarly, consciousness looks stationary. Consciousness also looks to have continuity, but in fact it is all the time changing. Therefore, ultimately it becomes zero. That is kshanikam. It has so many nuances, but this is not the context. This is not text, because this is not to analyze the Kshanikavada. All that the Bhashikara is referring to is that there is a difference of opinion about the truth. Kshanikaminike. Shunyamityapare. Then shunyam, that is the fundamental truth, is shunyam, nothing. You can't say anything about it. You can't say is, you can't say is not, you can't say is and is not, you can't also say is not and is not. Meaning, it is absolutely shunyam. It is not even shabda vishayam. You can't use even a word. You can't even use the word shunyam. That is how they explain shunyam. Meaning, it is something that is absolutely atyanta shunyam. Okay, this is the Buddhis. They have also again various nuances which we are not going into. Then, so Buddhism. In this particular context, the students of Bhashyam have to follow one thing. See, the coming sutra is going to be Janmadhyasya. Athato Brahma Jignasa. Thereafter, therefore, begins the Brahma Mimamsa. Which Brahma Mimamsa? Mimamsa of which Brahman? The very next sutra says the Brahman, that is indeed Janmadi, Asya Yataha. This is the source of Janma Sthiti Varnam. Brahman as the Jagat Karanam. We are going to do Mimamsa of Brahman, which is indeed the Jagat Karanam. The truth is that, the self is that, and Brahman is Prasiddham as Atma anyway. That he has already stated. It's not Aprasiddham Brahma, it is Prasiddham. As what? As the very subject. So if Mimamsa is about Brahman, then the Brahman has already been, is going to be defined in the very next sutra. Then these views, none of the views fits into the second sutra. You see, the quality of the body, consciousness as the quality of the body cannot be Jagatkara. What you establish as the reality, whatever may be your school, we don't bother. But what you clinch as the truth must be Jagatkara. What you clinch as the truth must be Jagatkara. That is the criterion. If the truth has to be Jagat Karanam, then the body cannot be Jagat Karanam. Consciousness as an attribute of the body also can't be Jagat Karanam. Because we are saying consciousness is an attribute of the body. If it is an attribute of the body, then it is an adjective of the body. An adjective of the body is a part of the body. And which is a part of the body, that part of the body, a part of the body, not even the whole of the body, just a part of the body cannot be Jagat Karanam. So it can't be the truth. You may have that view, but that can't be the truth, because the truth has to be Jagat Karanam. Similarly, senses cannot be Jagat Karanam, nor the consciousness as the quality of the senses can be the Jagat Karanam. Nor the mind can be Jagat Karanam, nor the consciousness as a quality of the mind can be Jagat Karanam. Now, consciousness as the momentary cannot be Jagat Karanam, because Jagat has continuity. Now, if you say, the momentary, the changing consciousness is the Karanam for the changing world. Now, we include all that changes into one block. We include all that changes into one block. So, creation includes the changing consciousness then. All that changes, it comes under Jagat. If you say consciousness is changing, we bring that changing consciousness, if at all there is any changing consciousness, we bring that changing consciousness into the world. So if that world is ever changing, then the Karanam for that Jagat cannot be changing. This is a very big breakthrough in thinking. Huge breakthrough in the life of a student of truth. You cannot posit something similar to Jagat as its own Karanam, because everything that is similar to Jagat comes under Jagat. When we say Jagat, it includes everything, all the entire matter. Anything changeable. If you're talking about changing consciousness, then that also has to come under the changing world. Now the karanam for that changing world cannot be something again that changes. Because anything that changes has to come under Jagat. Therefore, to hold a view is different. But that should be the explanation for everything. Your view of the truth should be an explanation for everything. That should explain away everything, leaving nothing behind. Therefore, it is easy to enjoy freedom of view, but it is not easy to have correct view, please understand. There is no use of emphasizing freedom of view, freedom of view. Any joker can have freedom of view. Any joker can have freedom of view. But to have correct view, for that you have to do tapasya, you have to reflect, you have to think, you have to study. Freedom of view is to be respected. But that freedom of view itself doesn't make you free. Freedom of view is not freedom. Correct view is freedom. Freedom of making a mistake, freedom of action doesn't make you free. But right action makes you free. Freedom to do any action is nothing. Freedom of speech need not make one free. But right speech and words make one free. Therefore, freedom of views, anybody can say, well, this is we are free to have this view. So Charvakas have their view, Mimamsakas have their view, and this Buddhists also have their view. But so what? Bhashyakara is going to say, so what? You may have freedom of view, but if your view is wrong, you will not get that freedom. You will not get that freedom. We have to gain freedom through the view, not entertain a view through freedom. View is not the result of freedom. In fact, freedom is the result of the view. Bondage is the result of the view. And freedom is the result of the right view. The result means understand freedom from the wrong. And therefore, to express one's freedom, just I am free to think what I am free to. Mana marzi hai. If marzi can liberate man, then everybody has his own marzi, and everybody should feel free. Is it not? Everybody has his marzi. And therefore, the view that a person has should be the explanation of everything, should explain away everything. So, Charvaka view doesn't explain away everything. It doesn't explain away anything. The universal view that I am nothing beyond the body, I am only the body, doesn't explain anything. I am only the body, doesn't explain anything. Alright, if you are only the body, then why do you want to, after all, it is the nature of the body to change and die. Therefore, it is the nature of you also, if you are the body, then it is your nature to change and die. Therefore, you should be very happy to fall in line with your nature. So, you should be happy to change and die. But why there is resistance? I mean, simple question, that needs explanation. That needs answering. Question needs to be answered. Why there is resistance? I don't want to die. I don't want to age also. I don't want to be unhappy. This simple resistance against unhappiness, etc., what is the explanation? Now, nor can we say, oh, I say hai. Well, I say hai is no answer. Oh, wo to hota hai. That is no explanation. Able to follow. Therefore, in the very second sutra, it says, what you consider as the reality should be Jagat Karanam. What is the truth is Jagat Karanam, then neither Prakrita view nor Charvaka view nor Buddhistic view of truth, the truth of their view, can be the Jagat Karanam. Now take for instance, I have given explanation, the fault in it. The changing awareness cannot be Jagat Karanam. Because anything that's changing, the changing awareness should be a part of the Jagat. So I have given the fault, I have shown you the flaw in it. Now Shunyam. If you say Shunyam is the Jagat Karanam, so then if Shunyam is Jagat Karanam, then Shunyam means non-existence. Then the Jagat also should be perceived as Shunyam. You see, a pot born of clay is seen as clay pot. An ornament that is born of gold is perceived as golden ornament. In that manner, if Shunyam is the material for everything, then the world should be perceived not as is, but it should be perceived as is not. You can't perceive the world as is. But this non-existent world you can't say. Then why do you use the word? This means this is used for pointing out something that is there. Now what is this? Look at this non-existent world. Look at this non-existent horn. How can the non-existent can be this or that? Anyway, there is no experience. We don't experience the world as non-existent. And therefore, Shunyam cannot be the explanation for Jagat. Shunyam cannot explain away my desires, our aspirations. Most important. Why do I want to be happy, peacefully? I want to be. I want to be. So if Shunyam were the truth, then I should embrace it. If emptiness were the truth, I should embrace it. I should love it. But emptiness, nobody embraces emptiness. Everybody wants to be full. Everybody wants to be complete. Everybody wants to be and full, be and peaceful, be and happy, be and free. Being is the whole life is, in fact, the love to be. I want to be. Therefore, Shunyam doesn't explain away anything. Not that it explains partial or anything. It doesn't explain even one grain of existence. Understand? Then comes the next view. Asti dehadi vyatiriktaha sansari karta bhokta ityapare. The karma mimamsakas. They say the self, this body is not the self is other than the body. Asti, there is. Dehadi vyatiriktaha, other than the body. There is someone who is other than the body, as pointed out by the Shruti Karmakanda. Sari, and this Atma is sansari, ever the struggler. Karta, Bhokta, he is always doing actions and waiting for results. Karta, Bhokta, iti apare, some other people. So we can take this line to belong to Karmakandis. There is a self. That self is other than the body. Therefore it leaves the body, takes another body, leaves the body, it takes another body. And in every body, what does it do? Do good and bad deeds and also enjoy good and bad results. And it carries the past with it. It can't leave the past. It can't leave the past, because the past I have to carry with me. Whether I carry or not, it travels with me. That is why Yudhishthira, when I said when man dies, what is it that travels with him? He says, unka kiya hua karam. What else travels with him? Naturally. Only karma travels. So the Karmakanda is saying, well, there is a self, but by nature it is sansari. It is sansari, it is karta, it is bhokta. Now this particular view that there is a self other than the body, and that self is by nature limited, by nature struggler, by nature looking for the pleasure. Now that self, the self as a sansari cannot be the explanation for. Now that sansari and the sansari should be a part of the creation. I won't accept it as outside creation. Sansari as sansari is a part of creation. Because he is karta. So karta means actor. So actorship, actions are in creation. Therefore actorship is in creation. Sense pleasures are in the creation. Therefore the status of being an enjoyer is also in the creation. Therefore sansari as a sansari is a part of creation. And a part of creation cannot be the explanation for the creation. It explains nothing. It explains. Nor does Karmakanda say that it is meant for explaining of everything. The explanation for everything comes in Vedanta, but in Karmakanda it doesn't explain anything. It just helps you. It helps you be comfortable in sansara. Hey, you are not this body. You are other than the body. And therefore you better do your actions rightly. Because whatever you do today, it is going to come back to you tomorrow. If not now, tomorrow. If not in this life, next life. And therefore be careful. In this manner, Karmakanda is not an explanation for everything. Karmakanda is a guiding light. It is a light that guides the jiva within sansara. It's not an explaining of a shastra. It is a vidhi pratishedha shastra. It is not vastu nirnayaka shastra. It is not vastu nirnayaka shastra, but it is vidhi pratishedha shastra. It is only helping man to do right action and avoid wrong actions. And then just sansar mein pade rehne ke liye thoda light hai. Therefore this view, sansari's view, the Karmakandi's view, that there is a self which is other than the body, sansari doesn't explain. But it should be, if it is a right view, it should be explanation for everything. Nothing should remain unexplained. Nothing should remain unexplained. Therefore, to hold a view is very easy. A person says, I believe that God is in heaven. All right, God is in heaven. Let it explain away everything. Can it explain away? It doesn't explain away anything. It doesn't explain anything. In fact, that very faith needs to be explained. Faith in God in heaven is not an explanation for anything. That very faith is a musibat which needs to be explained. Why? Because this person, he is a sansari and he wants to find happiness and he hopes to get that happiness on the lap of God. That means it only expresses his love for happiness. But that love for happiness doesn't manifest in heaven. That love for happiness is manifest now. That means his need for happiness is now. It's not that he wants to be happy in heaven. I want to be happy now. But because of ignorance, therefore that faith is explained away as caused by ignorance. There is self-ignorance. Anyway, no faith explains. Every faith needs to be explained away as an error. The whole Jagat is explained away in Vedanta as an error about the truth. Your faiths also have the same Yogakshema, they also have to be explained away as an error about the truth. It can't be explained away differently. All that is explained away comes under one category. The explainer comes under one category. Truth explains away everything. But what is that truth? And there are so many views, and none of the views can explain away the truth of whatever is the view of the truth. That view doesn't explain away. That is what is being said. That is why one has to keep in view the following sutra. What is the following sutra? Janmadhyasya yatha jagat karanam. Okay, the next view. Bhokta eva kevalam na karta. This is Sankhya. Bhokta eva kevalam. The self is an enjoyer, but not the doer. Bhokta eva kevalam natu karta. This Sankhya school says that in order to perform an action, it has to be material. Anything material can move. Body can move. But consciousness cannot move. Therefore, consciousness can just abide in itself and be happy, enjoy. That is, they call it as enjoyment. But actions are all done by the body, senses and the mind. So, Karta is the body, but the enjoyer is the self, Atma. Atma is the Bhokta, but Sharira is the Karta. Atma is the Bhokta, Indriyas are the Karta. Atma is the Bhokta and mind is the Karta. Prakriti is the Karta. Atma is the Bhokta. And according to them, they are two realities. And positing consciousness as other than matter is no explanation for matter. That there is a difference between the self and the universe is not an explanation for the universe. Not explanation. The matter remains unexplained. And then in order to explain away the matter, they believe, they posit means they believe that the subtle matter undergoes change to become the gross matter. Now what is that subtle matter? It is inferred. It is inferred. But what is inferred, do you ever come to see it? No. It is nitya anumeyam. It is eternally a matter of inference. And nitya anumeyatvam should not come under anumana. Everything that is anumeyam should also be available for perception. I can infer thus fire through smoke, but the fire is also available for pratyaksham. Therefore it is a pratyaksham that is both pratyaksham and anumeyam. Then it is more a kind of an assumption. There must be some subtle matter which changes to become the gross matter. It becomes an assumption, not explanation. An assumption should not be taken as an explanation. And explanation should break all assumptions. Explanation should refer to something that is most evident, requiring no assumptions. Assumption is not an explanation. You can't explain things on the basis of some assumption. Therefore, it is not explanation. Therefore, the Sankhya school, which says that Atma is only Bhokta, not Karta, and Atma is different from matter, also can't explain away. Can't explain away so many things, not only matter, but our aspirations. It can't explain away. All right, if we are consciousness and we are Asanga, then why do we feel limited? Then they will say, ignorance. What is ignorance? Equation with the body. Okay, equation with the body. then anyway it is asanga anyway. That means there is no connection between consciousness and matter. Then if there is no connection, how does it equate itself? Wave can equate itself with wave, water can equate itself with wave because it's born right in the water. Clay can equate itself with pot because it's born right in clay. You understand, I can equate myself with a dream body because the dream body is born right in me. There is a connection, meaning there is no gap between the self, between awareness and what it equates with. There is no gap. Therefore, it is possible to equate itself with a creation in it. But here you are saying consciousness has nothing to do with matter, and how can consciousness have a wrong equation with the body, the matter? As per equation also, what is distant from me, I can't equate. Water can equate itself with wave. Water cannot equate itself with pot. Clay can't equate itself with wave. Clay can't equate itself with wave. Clay can equate itself with pot. The source can equate itself with the creation in it. The material can equate itself with the made. The material can equate itself with the made. The space can equate itself with the pot because it's the very material, space. So here the Purusha is asangaha, Prakriti is different, having nothing to do. Then how does the Purusha come to equate itself with it? Nice explanation or not? Oh, in this world we can't explain away everything, we have to leave out a few. No. The whole prapancha should be available for explanation. Life, what is death, what is waking, what is dream, what is sleep, what is desire, what is this man, what is everything. There is nothing. That is why you say, Tasmin drishte paravare kshiyate vel bhidyate hridaya grandhihi chipyante sarva samshayaha kshiyante jasya karmani tasmin drishte paravare. The knowledge of the truth should be an explanation for, should be an answer to all questions. But if you have a view of the truth which may be an explanation for one or two questions, it may look to be an explanation for one or two questions. But if it is not the answer to every question, then it's not valid. And in fact, what is not the answer to all questions is also not the answer to even one or two questions. It may look to be the answer because it may become the answer to one or two questions, bringing about further questions. That way. Some of the views may be the answer, but that is not the answer. The answer, it may look to answer one question and create 1,000 questions. What is not an answer to all the questions cannot be the answer even to one question, quote unquote. Categorically, I stand by it. What is not an answer to the entire creation cannot be the answer to any question. Therefore, Sankhya also is not the answer. Bhokta eva kevalam na karta iti eke asti tad vyatiriktaha ishvaraha sarvajnaha sarvashaktiriti kechit saishvaravadis. And it can include all the Vaikis. There is God other than man, this school. Is God. Asti tad vyatiriktaha. Other than this Ishvara, other than this Karta Bhokta, Ishvara. Sarvajnaha is omniscient, all-knowing God is there. Sarva Shakti and is almighty. There is one God other than man. In this manner think the Dvaitis, in this manner think the Saishwara Sankhya. Saishwara Sankhya means within the Sankhya, the first group say there is only matter and consciousness. Then the second group says there is matter, consciousness, and also there is some God which times the manifestation of the subtle matter to become gross matter, the creator. And that is the traditionally Saishwaravadi, but the modern Dvaitis also come under the same school. All the Dvaitis say God is other than man, God is almighty, all-powerful, omniscient, all-knowing, whereas man is Alpajnaha, Alpashaktiman, Alpavyapi, whereas God is Sarvajnaha, Sarvashaktiman, Sarvavyapi. Now this view that there is God other than man also doesn't explain. It doesn't explain. If God is other than me, then I am by nature limited. If I am limited, then I should be very happy. I should become unhappy only when I am threatened to be, and when I am threatened with unlimitedness. I should be happy to be dying. And if somebody says, no, so I should fear security. I should fear security. I should fear longevity. I should fear existence. ऐसा तो नहीं, able to follow. I am saying is not right. That should be the thing. If I am other than Bhagavan, then I should be limited. As limited I should be happy as I am. I should have no problem. The limited has no problem, I am telling you. The limited has no problem. No object which is limited has any problem. So if I am also limited like an object, अगर हम भी एक चीज होता, चीज like an object, हम भी अगर एक कुछ चीज होता, then we would have had no problem, because cheese doesn't have problems. It is not a cheese. So what is the explanation for the discomfort? That God is other than me doesn't explain away my inner situation. That God is other than me doesn't explain away my fear. Then they will say theologians, they always come up with some real funny things. No, your fear, your sorrow is born of your separation from God. So that means separation from God makes me unhappy, means non-separateness should be my nature. Then how can you have a theology that it is other than you? Therefore, no Dvaita school can explain away anything. Not that it explains only, it is only half truth, not the whole truth. This is another fashion in every way. You only know part of the truth, but you don't know the whole truth. This is called modern. It's holistic. It should be the whole truth. It should not be part truth. No. There is no such a thing called partial truth. There is no such a thing called partial truth. There is truth and everything else is an appearance about it. Like four blind people. Let me give this story also. Today being it. There were four blind people. And all the four blind people wanted to know what the elephant is like. One blind man caught hold of the trunk and said, "This is the elephant." Another, listen to this very carefully, because you have to be absolutely meticulous in Mimamsa. Us tabhi anand hota hai. Either it's all over the carbon. Action can still give you some result. But Mimamsa gives you no result. Another blind man held on to its leg. Then he said, "This is the elephant." The third blind man, held the tail, said, "Well, this is the elephant." The fourth blind man held the ivory. What is it called? Tusk. It held the tusk. Said, this is the elephant. The one who writes the story comes to the conclusion that all the four blind men are right. But they are partially right. But is it true? Are they partially right? When the person holds the trunk, he doesn't say the trunk of the elephant. He says it is trunk is the elephant. What is it? That small little stuff, this is elephant. Now what is it? Partial knowledge or bhranti? Tusk. 2 feet tusk, this is elephant. What is it? Partial knowledge. That means a blind man can't have, the four blind men did not have partial knowledge of the elephant. In fact, all of them got it wrong. If it is partial knowledge, do you know when it would be partial knowledge? The blind man holds the trunk and says it is a part of the elephant. It is not the whole elephant. That is called knowledge of partial knowledge. Partial is not again an attribute of knowledge. Knowledge of a part. It's a knowledge of a part. And that knowledge is complete. It is knowledge. Even a man with eyes sees one side of elephant, then it is a knowledge of a part. Knowledge of a part. And part by part you come to know the whole tree, for example. You analyze a leaf, you analyze the bark, you analyze the branch, you analyze the root, etc. Part by part you come to understand the tree. Now what is that knowledge, part by part knowledge? This part by part knowledge is the whole knowledge about the part. It is knowledge about the part. It is a knowledge about the part. In perception. Knowledge about the part. But not partial, it does not qualify. Knowledge. Partial is the karmani shashti it is. Knowledge pertaining to part. Knowledge pertaining to part. Therefore, can there be really, can we say that the four blind people knew only half-truth? Is it half-truth? No, it's very difficult to convey unless you also cooperate. Is it half-truth? In fact, they misunderstood the whole truth. They did not know the half-truth, they misunderstood the whole truth. Understood the whole truth to the elephant. In that manner, if God is different from, that the God is different from man, that particular view is not half-truth. It is confusion about the total confusion about the truth. Every view in this creation about truth is a confusion about the truth because you are excluding yourself. Any view that you have about God, excluding yourself, is a bhranti. You should include yourself in analyzing what the truth is. If you don't include yourself, then you will make a mistake. Because the truth happens to be the very self. So we are analyzing to find out the truth, excluding the very truth. Excluding the very truth, I am trying to find out the truth. Like the 10th man excludes himself and looks for the 10th man. In the realm of his search, he doesn't put himself. In the realm of his search, he doesn't put himself. He takes himself out of the realm of his search and then he searches. Will he find? No. Therefore, Dvaitavada doesn't give any explanation. It doesn't provide any explanation. Some explanation? No. Half explanation? No. Quarter explanation? No. Does it explain anything? None. I have given you the logic. Either it is explanation for everything or it is not an explanation for anything. It doesn't explain it. Therefore, it is not that we have to collect all the views to find answers to all the questions. In fact, these very views needs to be explained away as errors about the truth. That's called explaining them. Then comes Vedanta Darshanam. That is said, well, Atma sabhokturitya pare. Atma sabhoktuhu. Truth is that which is the truth of this very man. Truth is that which is the truth of this very seer, hearer, taster, toucher, smeller, sufferer, enjoyer, and the universe. The very truth of what is known itself is the truth. Therefore, the truth should be the truth of what is evident. The truth should be the material for what is evident. So, the material for what is sense evident, the material for all that is evident, you understand, the unaffected material for the very Atma, the Swarupam, the actuality. The very actuality, the very material for the Jagat is the truth. The very material for this body is the truth. The very material for this mind is the truth. And that would be the explanation for everything. And explanation is like what? Clay is the explanation for the pot. What is the explanation? Pot is clay. What more explanation do you want? It is in fact water. That is explanation. Jagat is in fact thyself. That is explanation. The dream is in fact the very dreamer. That is explanation. What is it? That is the answer. That is the question. And the answer has to be given as to what it is. Awareness becomes the explanation for matter. And that awareness cannot be limited. It has to be unlimited. Therefore, the actuality, he just gives the simple, the Siddhantam, the very Swarupa of all that is known is the Atma. This is Vedanta Darshanam. But it is not a school of thought, that is the vision of the Pramana, in keeping with the Anubhava, etc. In this manner, we have so many schools. So many schools. And more schools, the better. After all, you can select one school and according to your, they say, this is another headache. Depending upon your, suited to your temperament. Because God is kind. See, the very definition of God's kindness is unkindly. The very unkindly definition of the kindness of God. God is so kind, therefore He has come up, He has given so many views, so that you can follow according to your temperament, active temperament. This is all given by whom? Means sadhus. Sadhus are supposed to be wise. Our Indian sadhus are supposed to think straight about the truth and then talk about the Shastram straight. And they have slowly become mediocre. Even sadhus have become mediocre. Grihasthas become mediocre, it is still understandable. Sadhus become mediocre in talking, mediocre in teaching, mediocre everything. I say truth does not depend upon your temperament. You should not follow the path. It's like supposing a person tells lies. Then he says, well, that is according to his temperament, let him tell lies. I say, you should know, you should do what is right, even if you are temperamentally suited to telling lies, you better control it and tell the truth. If dharma itself is not subjective, if dharma should not fall in line with your temperament, how can the absolute truth be, the path to truth be followed as per your temperament? What is this? For the active people, karma yoga; for emotional people, bhakti yoga; and for the intellectual people, that's again, and just to give complex to the people who are doing action. So if a person is doing, so Mahatma Gandhi was a karma yogi, he said. That means what? He was not an intellectual. Unki dimag kami thi. Therefore he fell for karma yoga. That means whoever is a karma yogi is what? He is non-intellectual and non-emotional. He is a bhakti yogi because he can't think, therefore he has got the praise to God. He is non-intellectual, therefore he is a bhakta. And he is intellectual, therefore he is a big Vedanti. And whoever is studying Vedanta thinks I am superior because I am studying Vedanta, because I am intellectual. Is it mediocrity? Even to talk like this? Is it not mediocrity? When Bhagavan Krishna is talking in such a grand manner, it is the student of truth who is a karma yogi, who needs to pray, who needs to do his duties, prepare himself for understanding. Is it not everybody's need to be active? Is it not everybody's need to be prayerful? Is it not everybody's need to reflect and understand? It is not that your need is different from my need because your temperament is different from my temperament. What I am saying, is it not mediocrity? That is why Krishna clearly says, all that I taught fell into the mediocre hands and they have distorted it. And I feel very happy when he says, my Shastram fell into the hands of these jokers, he says. Therefore, you can't say there are many paths to the same goal. Why? Because God is very kind that He has given many paths so that you can follow any path as per your temperament. Is it true? Is it true? That's why here Bhashyakara says, real chalak of the grandeur of Bhashyakara's thinking, straight thinking. What does he say? Evam bahavaha vipratipannaha. In this manner there are so many views. Yukti vakya tadabhasa samashayaha. And some use logic and some use the semblance of logic. Vakya, yukti vakya. Some use yukti and some use yukti abhasa. Some quote the Shastram and some quote the Vakya Abhasa. Vakya Abhasa means what? Pulling it out of context. Abhasa means semblance. Yukti Vakya tada Abhasa Samashrayaha. Resorting to semblance of logic and statements of Shruti pulled out of their context. They try to establish their views. Samashrayaha santaha. Samashrayaha santaha means resorting to, होते हुए, resort करते हुए, अपने views को they put forward. Like that, why are you worried? You follow what you like. Says, no. Atra, among them, avicharya, without thinking. Yat kinchit, any view. according to your liking, etc. Yamanaha, following. Following any view or taking any view for the right. Nishreyasat, from freedom. Pratihanyeta, one would fall short of freedom. One would be denied of freedom. Following any of these views blindly without thinking would only deny you your moksha, your freedom. Nishreyasatu pratihanyeta. A person shall be denied of freedom blindly following any of these views. And naturally when you follow something, you follow what is convenient to you anyway. And what is most convenient is this, yavat jivet sukham jivet, rinam kritva krit. That rinam kritva kritam pivet, as far as I am concerned, that is most convenient. Take loans, you don't have to pay back. It can be a more convenient view than that, provided they are givers of loans. Nishreyasatve pratihanyeta. All right, what if I am denied of freedom? Hey, don't say that. Anartham cha iyat. And you will be bound for bondage. You will continue to suffer the obtaining bondage. Anat ka bhi prapt kare. Ishtam will be denied to you, and anishtam will come to you. There is no limbo. There is no limbo for jiva. Only Christian theology has limbo, but Vedic dharma doesn't have limbo. Christian theology talks about a limbo, neither heaven nor hell. In between, that is called limbos. Neither here nor there, limbo. But for us, there is no limbo. Either you are suffering bondage or you are free from bondage. There is no limbo. So neither I get the desirable, nor I get the undesirable. Is there a state like that? Neither I get the desirable means happiness. Nor I get the undesirable means unhappiness. What is that state? Neither I am happy nor I am unhappy. Then what are you? I am peaceful. That is another word for happiness. I am neither good nor bad. Some people say, then what are you? I am neutral. What is neutral? So both of your neighbors are fighting. I am not taking any sides. I am only enjoying the tamasha. That is being bad. That is being bad. At least go there and request them. Just separate them at least. In India, the fights are very common to There is always somebody to come and separate. Always somebody. Even in the world, I tell you, there are too many people, mediators, like Americans come, Europe comes. Supposing just leave them alone. Let them settle. Problem jaldi samapt ho jayega. Therefore, anyway, whether that is also desirable or not, we don't know. But all that I want to say is that there is no such a state for jiva called limbo. That is why what does Bhashikara say? Anartham cha iyat. Nishreyasat pratihanyeta. Anartham cha iyat. In which case there is no limbo. I won't follow any of them also is not the solution. I have to find out the truth for my happiness. I cannot find happiness without finding the truth. I can't be happy without finding the explanation for myself and the universe. I can't find happiness in the creation. I can find happiness in finding the explanation for creation. I have to find explanation for myself. Not without that. Therefore, here it says, Anartham chayat tasmat, therefore, Brahma Jignasa Upanyas Mukhena Vedanta Vakyam Imamsa Tata Virodhi Tarka Upakarana Nishreyas Prayojana Prastuyate. Therefore begins Brahma Jignasa. And by way of Brahma Jignasa, we are going to analyze all the Vedanta Vakyas and the related logic. Anubhavas. We are looking into the Vakyas. We are going to look into the Yukti, and we are going to look into the universal experiences. This whole Mimamsa will be done, and that is what we call Sutra Bhashya. A very topic will be taken into account. Topic will be taken into account. Therefore, Nishreyasu Prayojana, which is meant to give you Moksha Nishreyasam, will be Prastuyate, Prarabhyate, is begun. The last Vakya will go into little more. And we will begin next sutra called Janmasya. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Very, very, very happy New Year to everybody. Please come. There is some prasadam. This prasadam, distribute this. Prasadam is for distribution. But how do you distribute this? A stick spoon is going to break. Therefore, you go and get first a steel spoon.
Yeah, I will get from downstairs.
Because maybe we'll come on.